Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Buffalo Sports Insider. My name is Thomas Bailey alongside Jake Moss as we have a special guest to open up our show here today. So make sure you stay tuned in for everything we're going to get into. But first, welcome Howard Simon to the booth. Thank you so much, Howard, for taking the time out of your day to do this for us. We're going to get into some Sabres talk, some Bills talk, and some talk about your career. So once again, thank you for joining us.
Can we skip the Sabres and Bills talk this week?
Yeah, at this point, oh yeah, it's not exactly the most fun moment for Buffalo sports fans, but we thank you so much either way. Jake, what's a question that you've been dying to ask Howard? Is there something that you want to get off your chest here to the
Yeah,
guys?
on one of the bright sides that we have around the Bills right now, going about the stadium that we'll be unveiling next season. What's the biggest difference in the stadiums that is either your favorite or that you think will make the most impact for a fan's viewership?
I think the construction of it in terms of the weather. First off, I mean, you drive by it. I probably drove by it a few weeks ago, guys, and I actually pulled off Abbott Road and parked on One Bills Drive just to get out of the car and stare at the new stadium. I mean, it's really impressive looking. And I mean, it does look a lot bigger. Obviously, the current stadium built down on the ground makes a difference, but it just looks amazing as it's being constructed. To me, I think the biggest difference is going to be the impact on the weather. How the design of the stadium will keep what is it, 2/3 or maybe 70% of the people dry in terms of elements, and the construction of the stadium to mitigate wind issues, which should make life a little bit easier for the quarterback and for the kickers going forward. So I think, and of course, I mean, the amenities for the fans, which I don't think we'll truly appreciate until it's open and people start walking around and seeing exactly how different it is from the old facility.
Yeah, I think it's a very good stadium as well. Obviously, one of the highest tech in the entire NFL. It will be, of course, at the time of its release, which will be next season, only one short little while away. I want to go from the construction to the deconstruction, I guess, as the Buffalo Sabres here a little bit. 0-3 to start the season. A 3-1 loss at home to Colorado is their most recent game. They play again tonight against the Ottawa Senators. What do you make of this Sabres start? And do you think there's something that needs to change, or do you think they have what it takes in the building right now and just need to take some more time to get there?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the problem with saying give them more time is that we've lived this for, the whole drought. And we think they might be good enough to sneak into the playoffs and give them more time. And then it turns out, by Christmas, they're usually out of the playoff race, if not Thanksgiving. So that's the problem with giving more time. And it's odd. I know there's some injury issues and that's hurting. I mean, losing Norris was one of the worst things that could happen to that team because I think he would have been a really important piece of the top line. So that's bad. Obviously, the lack of scoring, the power play hasn't been working, but that's cyclical. The odd thing is going into the season, I think the biggest question mark was about the goaltending, especially with the UPL injury. Turns out goaltending's been fine. Goaltending has been more than fine in the first few games. They can't score. So that's the thing that's frustrating. And it's just waiting. Kulik is already now a healthy scratch. We keep waiting for Jack Quinn to play with some consistency level. Even Thompson's not scoring. I mean, that's the problematic issue, guys. And the thing that troubled me the most was the second game of the season, and the head coach is talking about no compete and the worst effort he's seen, maybe since he's come back. It just not good signs for the first 3 games of the season.
Yeah, no, not at all. Jake, what's another question that you'd like to ask Howard?
Yeah, going through another problem in Buffalo sports, going back to the Bills, what going forward do you think is the biggest position of concern? And do they have in-house fixes, aka IR or practice squad, or is there someone you think they need to go get to address that?
I think Jake, I would have if we did this show last week, I would have told you the secondary with safety being first and cornerback after that. Honestly, now if you couple the New England game and the Atlanta game, I'm going to go back to offense, as crazy as it might sound for some people, because there are multiple issues on the defense. I think there's one position on the offense, and it's wide receiver. I think they're dying for a playmaking impact wide receiver. I don't think the answer is internal. I don't think there's anybody in the organization, on the roster, on the practice squad, who is going to be that guy at wide receiver. I think that would have to come in a trade. So I'd say that's now number one. But they do have to address the safety position. I think Rapp's play seems to have come down a little bit. Bishop obviously is still spotty. He's still having an issue with missed tackles. And I think we got so used to that fantastic duo. We never had to worry about safety for so many years with Poyer and Hyde here. And now it's a problem. And the back end of Sean McDermott's defense, that those guys bear a great responsibility. And these two right now are just not playing up to the level it needs to be at. Again, I don't think the answer there is on the roster anywhere. So I would assume that would be if they want to upgrade, they'd have to go out of the organization unless they feel that Jordan Poyer, either Hamlin's good enough to come back and do it, or Jordan Poyer still has something left in the tank and he does it. But I'm going to go back to the offense, guys, because if this team is going to win, obviously it will be driven by the offense. And if the passing game is now getting to the point where it's too easy to shut down, that's a big, big problem because they need the offense to carry this team.
They certainly do. That's a huge part of the NFL. One of the only teams in NFL history to score over 30-plus points in so many consecutive games last season. If you continue on that trend, though, let's say we go out and we get a player of maybe A.J. Brown or someone like that at receiver to go and play, or even just a safety, whatever it may be. Do we still think that we have a chance with this coaching staff? Do we think Sean McDermott, Bobby Babbage, who had a pretty bad game against the Falcons, do they end up getting it done for us, or do we need some changes to come in this offseason to really get us over that hump?
I don't worry as much about the coaching staff. I mean, I do think Sean McDermott over time has evolved. I think there's been a couple moments this season. I didn't like the punt at midfield the other day on 4th down and 2 or 3, whatever it was. I think there have been a couple of occasions where I thought he played it a little too safe. But I don't believe the coaching staff is the issue that would hold the Bills back if they improve the roster from a personnel standpoint. I do think there is a little bit, it hasn't happened every season with McDermott. There's a little bit of been there, done this, where they don't look great in the first half of the season. And then they usually play their best ball in November and December going into the playoffs. And the defense will get better as the season goes on. The offense will get more consistent. I was looking at the numbers last night, guys. If you go back to 2019, which is really that's the season where Josh became the full-time starter. Their record before the bye is a win percentage of about, I think it's like 696. After the bye, it's 734. So historically, they have played well after the bye in the second half of the season. So I don't think this is an indictment what we're seeing the last couple of weeks on the coaching staff. But let's face it, the defensive side of the ball got a lot of problems. The safeties aren't good enough. Cornerback 2 is a big question mark. The pass rush hasn't been good enough. I'm sure they're hoping the guys coming off suspension will help. Milano can't stay healthy. Now Bernard's injured, and the best linebacker might be Shaq Thompson. So they've got issues at every level on the defense, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's very true. Once again, thank you so much, Howard, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to meet with us here today. We'll be right back to Buffalo Sports Insider in just a few short seconds with some NHL talk with Cameron.
How was school today?
It was good.
Did you play volleyball?
Yes.
How's your serve coming? I think we'll work on it this weekend.
Amy's slumber party is this weekend.
Is your homework done?
No.
That was the deal we made. If you do...
You wouldn't do that. So why do you do this? Distracted driving kills an average of 9 people and injures over 1,000 every day in America. Put down your phone. Lives depend on it. Don't drive intoxicated. Don't drive intoxicated. A sobering message from AAA.
Back to Buffalo Sports Insider. I'm here with Cameron Orzechowski. Cam, we have a huge week of hockey coming up. Obviously, there were a few games this last couple nights, but specifically to Buffalo, our name, Buffalo Sports Insider, the Buffalo Sabres. They have lost 3 straight games to start their season to the Rangers, the Bruins, and most recently the Colorado Avalanche. Monday afternoon, a 3-1 loss. Pretty even game at the beginning, 1-1. But after the disgruntlingness of this fan base right now, down 3-1 at the end of that game, a fan threw their jersey onto the ice. Not the greatest sign there. Big boos, fire Adams, all these chants that were coming out during the game. People wearing the bags over their heads with the eye holes. Not a good sight here for this Buffalo Sabres team. And again, we are only 3 games into this season. Not the greatest start at all. This is a fan base that has been so loyal for so many years. They've endured an entire decade of disappointment at this point. It wasn't just about that one game. It was rather just like years of those unmet expectations for the Buffalo Sabres. And in one of those kinds of situations, it's something we have to kind of see what ends up happening. It's another one of those issues for them where, is this loss going to be a reminder? Is this going to be a wake-up call for the Buffalo Sabres, or are they going to continue to kind of go down this path? It's very unfortunate for them right now, but something that's for certain to me is that the Sabres fans' patience is wearing dangerously thin right now with this team, and I think that's something that has to be stated. 14 consecutive years without a playoff spot, and it looks like it could be another one here for the Sabres faithful. Not a good sign. As if you look at the entire NHL as a whole, there were a lot of really good games yesterday. Let's start off with that Oilers-Rangers game.
Yeah, so the Oilers, they had a nice shutout win against the New York Rangers with a 2-0 win last night, with Trent Frederick and Adam Henrique securing the win for Edmonton. Now, to touch on the Sabres, I know we talked about the Sabres a lot, but I don't know how many more wake-up calls they're going to need or they can even get. I need to get that out there. But to some more successful hockey teams, the Toronto Maple Leafs achieved a well-deserved win of 7-4 against the Nashville Predators last night. Both teams fought hard, but Austin Matthews fought harder with his 2-goal game last night. And finally, we're going to touch on Tampa Bay versus Washington. Now, Braden Point and Jake Gensel were not enough to stop the Caps in their tracks. Going into overtime last night, I was watching the game. I was pretty skeptical. I was like, oh, this is kind of a toss-up. You know, both teams play hard. There are a couple goals for each period. And then I walk away. I go to the kitchen, and then 2 minutes in, freaking Jake Chychrun putting the puck in the back of the net, securing the win for the Caps, and sending the Lightning home with their tails between their legs.
It's true indeed. Obviously, that first game, that Rangers-Oilers game, 3 straight shutouts at home for the Rangers. Not for them, though. They have been shut out 3 straight times at home, the first team in NHL history to have a season start that way. Their next chance to score at home will be after 2 more games on the road against the Maple Leafs and the Canadiens, trying to take down the Minnesota Wild in their search for an elusive goal at Madison Square Garden. As their team that they played, the Edmonton Oilers, are now tied for first in the conference at 2-0-1 with those Avalanche there. They beat Vancouver 3-1 on Saturday, and then the Rangers, of course, 2-0 yesterday. So that's a big one. The Leafs Predators 7-4 final score. That was the highest scoring goal of the day. 11 goals between the 2 teams. 3 different.
It's a fun game to watch.
3 points for 4 different players in that game too. An absolutely electric atmosphere there for the Maple Leafs as per usual. And then that last game, really the most exciting one, a barn burner between the Caps and Lightning, 2 playoff teams from a season ago, looking to get back there. And they showed it early on in the season. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for another segment here on Buffalo Sports Insider. We'll be back with another one right after this.
You wouldn't do that. So why do you do this? Distracted driving kills an average of 9 people and injures over 1,000 every day in America. Put down your phone. Lives depend on it. Don't drive intoxicated. Don't drive intoxicated. A sobering message from AAA.
How was school today?
It was good.
Did you play volleyball?
Yes.
How's your serve coming? I think we'll work on it this weekend.
Amy's slumber party is this weekend.
Is your homework done?
No.
That was the deal we made. If you do...
Welcome back to Buffalo Sports Insider. I'm here with Mario. And Mario, you're going to talk some soccer, right?
Yes, for the soccer team, Buffalo State men's soccer team beat Fredonia in the derby game. The Bengals got the victory with an agonic 2-1 in Coyer Field this past Wednesday. The Buffalo State Bengals finished the first half 1-0 with freshman Lesedi Sekobo as the goal scorer, and it was his first goal of the conference. He said, "Honestly, it felt great to score a goal under those conditions, a tough game, and be able to show off for the team. It is a great moment for me. It was just great." The second half started with a goal from the Blue Devils in the first 2 minutes. However, in the 68th minute, a very debatable for the visitors team, penalty was called by the referee, who Diego Rivera exchanged for a goal.
Oh,
The derby finished 2-1 for the Bengals. However, it was not an easy game for the local team, as coach Franco Cardillo said. It's the battle by the lake. It's a derby game. It means a lot, not only in conference, but just for the schools in general. Fredonia is an extremely tough team to play always, and they showed that on Wednesday. For us, that was a big game. For us, it was a big moment. This game is something we feel really proud of, and we want to continue to build out of that success, were the words of Franco Cardillo. Buffalo State Bengals visited SUNY Cortland during the weekend and brought a tie against the second position in the regional ranking. The season is approaching to its final stages, and Cardillo identifies some of the challenges the team is dealing. I think the biggest challenges that we are currently facing is not even a challenge on the outside, but it's more on the inside. And it's really trying to make sure that everyone is accounted for in terms of them playing, them enjoying themselves on the field. That's the biggest problem the team is having, and it's playtime. The Buffalo State Bengals are visiting SUNY Oneonta this Wednesday today at the Red Dragon Field at 4 p.m.
good. Hopefully it'll win.
Hopefully.
Okay, guys, I got to talk about a story here. I usually don't like talking about stuff like this, but it was close to my heart. The town of Amherst is mourning the loss of their beloved coach, Jason Beckman. The Amherst community is grieving the sudden loss of the coach, whose car veered off the Niagara Parkway last Monday at 9:15 in the morning. Beckman was 52. Right now, it's being ruled an accident. For those that knew Jason, knew he was a fun-loving coach, a mentor, a family man, a community member, one that always liked to joke at practice. I had the honor of coaching with him in the early 2000s, where his attention to detail, sharp football mind, and quick sense of, like I said, humor left a lasting impression on everyone around him and inspired them not only to perform on the field, but to grow as just young men. Just 5 days after his passing, though, Amherst faced a difficult decision of whether to take the field or not. But the answer was clear. They would take the field, honoring their coach by wearing a helmet sticker with the letters JB on it. Before kickoff, the stadium fell silent. There was a moment of silence for him. The community members stood together, united in grief. Coaches, families, former players, community members stood together. But the gratitude for life of a man who had given so much to the community. The Tigers fell 32-7 that night, but the score hardly mattered. What mattered was the courage it took for those young athletes to step onto that field, carrying the weight of the loss on their shoulders. What mattered was to see a support in the stands from the entire community. And the community members came not just to watch a game, but to honor a leader whose influence stretched far beyond football. Jason Beckman's legacy will not be measured in wins and losses, but in the countless lives he touched. Amherst lost a coach, yes, but more importantly, it lost a leader, a mentor, and a man whose spirit will live on in the players he guided and the community he loved.
Sad story for
Yeah,
today.
and I knew him, and it's hard to believe he's gone. We'll be right back with our last segment.
How was school today?
It was good.
Did you play volleyball?
Yes.
How's your serve coming? I think we'll work on it this weekend.
Amy's slumber party is this weekend.
Is your homework done?
No.
That was the deal we made. If you do,
Hi, Lauren. My name is Katie. We're gonna take care of you, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
You wouldn't do that. So why do you do this? Distracted driving kills an average of 9 people and injures over 1,000 every day in America. Put down your phone. Lives depend on it. Don't drive intoxicated. Don't drive intoxicated. A sobering message from AAA.
how was school today?
It was good.
Did you play volleyball?
Yes.
How's your serve coming? I think we'll work on it this weekend.
Amy's slumber party is this weekend.
Is your homework done?
No.
That was the deal we made. If you do,
Hi, Lauren. My name is Katie. We're gonna take care of you, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Hello, and welcome back to Buffalo Sports Insider for our final mega segment of the day. First, I will lead it off here, joined by Ryan and Joe, referring to the Buffalo State women's volleyball team, who currently started SUNYAC play over the past 2 weeks. They've played 3 SUNYAC games so far and have gone 1-2 in those 3 matches, with a 3-0 win over Morrisville, and then falling to Cortland 1-3, and falling to Fredonia 0-3 at home. Looking at the conference, Cortland is currently the #1 seed, while Fredonia is 4th and Morrisville is 5th, leaving Buffalo State 6th, and in the current SUNYAC playoff format, would leave them as the bottom seed in the playoff tournament. Now, it's very early. However, it's a good thing to know that at their current rate, if they just play volleyball that they've been playing, they'll still be alive at the end of the season. Now, looking at the season as a whole, they have Ella Whitman, April Jakubowski, and Delaney McCartney that make up all of their statistical leads when it comes to any major stat they're looking at. And to break it down, Ella Whitman currently leads in digs and kills. Jakubowski leads in assists and aces, and Delaney McCartney leads in blocks. A very well-rounded team, and it'll come down to those 3 throughout the season mainly, as they've played the most minutes for anyone on that team. They are attacking at a 157 percentage and allowing other teams to attack at a 182 percentage. So they're getting out hit in usual play, but it's not a trend that we've seen get worse. They've actually gotten better as they've played more games. And so with that, I will pass it to Ryan for Canisius Women's Soccer.
Thank you very much. And on to Canisius Women's Soccer, where the Golden Griffins, who started out 4-0 in conference play, but they followed up with back-to-back losses, and they're trying to change that momentum this past week. They would take on the Siena Saints at the Dempsey Sports Complex on the campus of Canisius University, where they hosted Siena. And that game would be ending in a 0-0 draw, scoreless draw, for the 4th straight season that those teams have tied with each other. Sophomore Zaire Fagan had her best scoring chance in the 77th minute for the Canisius Golden Griffins, but her shot was tipped over the net by the Seattle goalkeeper, Katie Burns. Freshman goalkeeper Chloe Tarhos for the Canisius Golden Griffins recorded her second shutout of the season with 6 saves in the game. The Griffs would follow up that game as they would head to Hamden, Connecticut, as they would go face the Quinnipiac Bobcats on October 11th, as they were trying to capitalize on some early opportunities, but they were unable to do so. But they did outshoot Quinnipiac throughout the game, 9-8. But the scoring, the Griffs would get shut out by a final score of 2-0. Quinnipiac would win to drop the Griffs. With that, the Griffs would fall to 4-3-1 in conference play, tied for 5th in the standings with Manhattan. And the Griffs will be heading back home to downtown Buffalo to take on the Manhattan Jaspers, which is actually currently going on right now against Mount St. Mary's at home. And with that, we'll turn it over to Joe with NFL Power Rankings.
Okay, we're going to talk Power 10 here. For the first time, we got 3 guys on. We got a majority of our poll on, so I don't know what's going to happen here. At number 10, we got Pittsburgh for the first time in here at 4-1 after they crushed Cleveland.
Absolutely. That defense is going to do a lot for them, especially if Aaron Rodgers continues to just do his job and facilitate the offense.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. You know, the Steelers are probably, you can argue, the best team in the AFC North right now, which is why they're in our power rankings and are with their top 10, with the rest of the AFC North not playing very well at all, with Baltimore losing Lamar Jackson for a little bit, but there is a chance that he could be coming back this week, or after the bye. But that's going to be, we'll see if Pittsburgh keep up.
Yeah, 4-1, minus 2-point differential.
Yep.
Okay, number 9, Philadelphia, 4-2, now lost 2 in a row.
Yeah, they look rough. I mean, they've shown that when you take out their ability to run the ball, there's almost no offense there.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have a bye week this past week. They're going to be taking on Minnesota. We'll see if they can bounce back and see if they can climb back up into our top 5.
All right, at number 8, the Rams 4-2 beat Baltimore. The Rams could be 6-0 if it weren't for a last-second blocked field goal and an overtime loss there for San Fran.
Absolutely.
I know you like them.
I do. I like the Rams, and I really like the way the team's constructed. They got a lot of youth and a lot of talent that both combines to play today's NFL.
Yeah, the only thing that you got to keep out for the Rams is they suffered the injury of Puka Nacua. That's going to be a big injury if he's out for any amount of time. They're going to have guys step up, but Puka Nacua, it's going to be a big injury if the Rams lost him.
Okay, number 7, Seattle 4-2, jacked up the Jags 20-12. Next, they got the Texans on the late Monday night game, and they're only 7 points from being undefeated. And our one pollster that's not here, Pew, he's a big Seattle fan.
Yeah, absolutely. Seattle, they got a big win against the Jaguars. The Jaguars who were, in our top 10 this last week, after coming off a win against the Kansas City Chiefs. Seattle put them right back in their place.
Well, Jake's not a big fan of Seattle.
Absolutely. Right. I have Seattle 13th in my poll.
Okay.
And
they still crack your top 10, though.
No, they crack our top 10.
Your top 10, though.
Not
why not?
10.
Tell me why.
The defense is still very shaky.
Okay.
There's a lot of pieces moving on that defense, and I think the Jaguars were a hurt team and weren't able to actually capitalize. One of their weaknesses is linebackers, and their starting tight end, Bretton Strange, just went on IR. So I think it was good timing for Seattle.
All right, number 6, the LA Chargers, 4-2, manipulated Miami. Next, they're at Indy.
Yeah, I like the Chargers. I think that team, it's interesting to see Harbaugh want to throw it all game. But they've ran 10 personnel more than any other team in the NFL, and they have the receivers to do it and do it well.
Yeah, Ladd McConkey had a big game, especially on that last drive. They set him up for the game-winning field goal. That Chargers-Indy game, that's going to be a really fascinating game. That's going to say a lot about those two teams. We'll see if Indy is, legit.
All right, at number 5, Buffalo, 4-2. They've lost their second straight as Atlanta bushwhacked Buffalo. Buffalo is on a bye and needs a trip to Switzerland to fix their Swiss cheese defense and a stop at the land of Oz to get Joe Brady some courage to open up the playbook.
Absolutely. I think this defense is going to benefit a lot from Michael Hoyt and Larry Ogunjobi coming back, but this run defense has been bad. You've seen every running back they've gone against, whether it be Ramondre Stevenson, Bijan Robinson, just go off in every facet of the game. And until that's fixed, teams are just going to run all over them. And especially coming back in a game against a good rushing offense like Carolina after the bye, it's got to be fixed now.
We'll see if Sean McDermott takes back defensive play calling from Bobby Badgevich. I'm really curious to see if that gets changed during the bye. Another thing is that, Josh Palmer, he was a big interactive in their game plan, and he got hurt during that, and that really hurt the Bills.
You got some scoop down there, man? We don't know about? Okay. Number 4, Green Bay, 3-1-1. The Packers blasted the Bengals. Next up, they're out of Arizona. I see they're back in your poll.
Yes, they are. Well, they're back in the poll because they know how to play offense, and, I feel like they can be back in my poll because, they need to get a right game, but they need to improve their defense. Arizona could be a tough team to play against.
And I think the more Jordan Love plays with these receivers, he finds his favorites and he finds who he relies on a lot like Rodgers used to. So I think as the season goes on, he's already found Dobbs as his favorite target, and I think you'll see Jaden Reed come back at some point and actually start using Matthew Golden.
Number 3, Detroit, 4-2. The Lions got chopped up by the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's a fair statement to get chopped up by the Chiefs. I think in my opinion, they could be in the top 2. We'll see who's in the top 2, but the Lions, they could not get the job done against the Chiefs, and at the end of the game, they lost Brian Badge. He actually got suspended for a game because of his end-of-game antics against Juju Smith-Schuster.
And that suspension is going to be big because he plays a lot of their slot corner game, and they're already out. They entered that game without their top 5 corners. So defensive backs are all gone. Their linebackers are hurt. They keep losing linemen. They're in the same boat as Buffalo and Baltimore, where injuries are just derailing everything.
And they play Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
The early morning.
A hard game to come back.
Oh, boy.
Number 2, Indy. They inched past the Cardinals. We talked about they're at the Chargers.
Yeah. Indy's been a big surprise, I think, for probably all of us and, anyone who's in the NFL. Daniel Jones, he really got back to who he really is. I mean, maybe that says something about the New York Giants. It was similar to what Saquon Barkley, what happened to him. But the Giants, the Colts, they really spread out their offense and their defense. It wasn't a really good week at all for their defense, but they're winning their games, so that's the important part.
Absolutely. And they're not asking Daniel Jones to do anything outside of what he can do. They're just letting him be a capable quarterback and manage the game. The big thing for them, too, is using Jonathan Taylor to his actual usage. But for the team that started 30th in my preseason poll, they're not a bad spot.
They are definitely a shock. And the Tampa 5-1 turned the 49ers into fool's gold the other night. And I don't think you can argue that Baker's probably the MVP right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For me, there's not a quarterback in the NFL playing better than Baker Mayfield. And especially when you lose Evans, you lose Godwin, you lose Igbuka, you're throwing to Tez Johnson and Cameron Johnson, and you still go for 280 and 3 touchdowns. So I don't think it really matters about the offense. I think as long as the defense does their job, they won a close game against Seattle earlier in the year where they just outscored them. The offense is capable of putting up as many points as you need. The defense just needs to keep it a close enough game.
As you mentioned earlier, Buffalo and Baltimore deal with injuries. How about San Francisco? They're dealing with a lot of injuries. No Brock Purdy in this game. I feel like he may have a chance to come back, and it also got both of their receivers out, Jerron Jennings and Ricky Pearsall Jr.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we end the show, one of you guys, who do we follow here?
Well, I think, we'll see if Tampa remains in their top spot. And we follow the Buffalo Sports Insider on all social media platforms. And go check out the website, www.buffalosportsinsider.com.
And I've been asked to read this as all members of our team here. At the end of the show here, this show is in memory of Jason Beck.